Okay guys, so hopefully I don't delete this video like I did yesterday. Today we're still going to be adding fractions with like denominators, and I feel like the adding part is easy, we got it. The hard part is the simplifying your answers at the end, so that's what we're going to go over today. Because adding fractions, 3/8 plus 2/8. 3 plus 2 is 5, and our denominator stays the same. I think we have that. I think we can go across, add our numerator, keep our denominator the same. We got it. This is the part we're going to practice. And I suggest doing this with me. So, we're going to do 4, maybe even 5 examples. So let's see. Let's do 8/12. 8/12. We're going to simplify this. And the first thing we're going to do to simplify is come up with factors of each of these numbers. We've done this before. Remember, factors are the numbers that we multiply together to get our product. So what are our factors of 8? 1, 2, 3 is not a factor of 8. 4, 5 is not a factor of 8. 6, 7, 8. Okay, those are my factors of 8. Because 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Now let's do our factors of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, 6, and 12. Right? 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Those are my factors of 12. Now that we have our factors, we have to see what's the biggest number that I have in both rows. I have 1, 2, and I have 4. Right? I have 1 in common, 2 in common, and 4 in common. But I want the biggest factor we have in common, which is 4. Now that we know 4 is our factor, we're going to divide. Divide by 4, divide by 4. Because whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom, right? Vice versa. I have to do the same thing. 8 divided by 4, oops. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 2/3. That is simplifying, right? We're coming up with equivalent fractions. These fractions are the same. For example, I'll draw this down here. Let's say I have 2 shapes. Pretend those 2 shapes are the same. Let's do 8/12. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And let's do thirds. Nope, wrong thing. Right, 1, 2, 3. So let's do 8/12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all of these are all colored. And let's do 2/3. Okay, they're the same. What's the point I'm trying to make? We are making, I know it's not perfect because my drawing is not perfect, but they are the same exact things. 8/12 is the same as 2/3. We're just simplifying the fraction, we're just making it smaller. Let's do a couple more examples. I'm going to keep that there because we're going to do the same thing every time. And if you want to do this with me, I recommend it. Let's do 6/15. First, we're going to come up with factors. Factors of 6. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. And now let's do factors of 15. 1, 2, no, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's just going to be 15. 1 times 15 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15. Those are the only ways that I can get 15. So the only number that's on both is our 3. 3 is in both columns, in both rows. So we're going to divide by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So if we drew this out, or if we had tiles that match this, we could see that 6/15 is the same thing as 2/5. They're the same thing. Let's do another one. So that means once you add your fractions together, you need to see if you can simplify your answer. Let's do 7/14. And I know some of you can already look at this and you already know what the simplest form is. But that's okay, we're gonna do factors anyway. 7. Those are my only factors of 7. I know this because I know that 7 is a prime number. My cat's making a lot of noise over there. 7 is a prime number. It only has 2 factors, so 1 and 7. Now let's do 14. 1, 2, 7, 14, right? 1 times 14 is 14. 2 times 7 is 14. The only thing in both columns is 7. Divide by 7. Let me use a different color so we can keep this. Helps our eyes. Divide by 7. Divide by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. And a lot of you guys might have already noticed. 7 is half of 14. So 7/14 is 1/2. It's the same thing. Let's do another one. Oops. Cut off my tube. Let's do one more. Let's do 6/16. Okay? Factors of 6/16. 1, 2, 3, 6. Factors of 16. 1, 2, 3, no, 4, because 4 times 4. 5, 6, no, 7, 8, and 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, or 4 times 4. The only thing in both columns, the biggest thing in both columns is 2. Okay? Now let's divide both of these by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So 6/18 is the same as 3/8. And then I'm actually going to take a picture of this. But on the bottom, we're going to do this. You have our fractions, so step 1 is going to be list factors. Okay? And step 2 will be divide. If I can spell divide. By greatest. Oh my gosh, I can't spell anything. Greatest common factor. That means whatever number is the biggest that they both have in common, that's what we divide by. Divided by 4, divided by 3, divided by 7, divided by 2. And that's it. Step 1, step 2. That's how you simplify. I think adding isn't bad for adding fractions with like denominators. It's the simplifying that can get us and get pretty difficult. So that's it. I'll take a picture of this. You got this. All right, so for writing today, we're going to write the hook of our story, the beginning of our story. we should already have the beginning, middle, and end, a pretty decent outline of those things. But today we're going to come up with, how are you going to be able to hook your reader? What are you going to say in the beginning that's going to make the reader, me, say, ooh, I really want to read the rest of the story. I really want to know what's going to happen. So there are a few ways you can do that. And I know a lot of people kind of go, once upon a time, and they just go right into the story. But there are other ways and other things that we can do to make it more interesting and unique. So here are a few things you can do. First, you can use dialogue. Let me do right color actually. Dialogue means talking. So maybe right off the bat, you already have characters talking, and they're saying interesting things about the setting, the world they're in, or they're fighting a monster already, and it's just exciting right when you start reading. Also, onomatopoeia, and I always spell this word wrong. Onomatopoeia, which is an insane word, and it basically means like a sound effect. Sound words. So like bam, buzz, zoom. Things like this, they get your reader more invested in their story, and it's like they can hear it. It's like they're there. So using onomatopoeia or sound words can be a good way to start your story and throughout your story, not just starting your story. You can ask a question. This gets your character thinking, right? This gets your reader thinking about whatever you want them to think about. An example might be, have you ever had to battle your best friend? Ooh, that's interesting, right? Maybe you have. Maybe you're thinking, I wonder if the story is going to be about two best friends battling each other. And I wonder what's going to happen, right? It gets your reader excited. It can be action. So kind of like what I said before, you can already start, like something's happening already. Like, I leaped out of bed like a rocket. I leaped out of bed like a rocket. That's fine. Now you're like, ooh, I wonder why he's leaping out of bed. And again, it gets your reader just interested in what you're writing about. These are just a few tactics that you can use to start your story. And that's what you're going to be writing today. You already have the beginning of your story, but today you're going to actually write the few lines. Maybe it's a line, maybe it's a question, or maybe it's a few different lines. Things to keep in mind. Let me write it down here. You want to, in the very beginning, you still need to introduce characters and introduce setting. I should still know who at least your main character is, and I should know where this is taking place in the very beginning of your story. It's also good in the very beginning of your story to introduce problem. That doesn't mean that we know all the problems. That doesn't mean that the problem is already happening, but the character is aware that this is an obstacle that they might have to face in the future, and they will end up facing in the future, right? I'm going to read you 2 examples of beginnings, and the story that you'll listen to, if you would like, it's the same story you listened to yesterday, I think, the stripes, the girl with the stripes. Listen to the beginning again and really pay attention to how they actually start the story and how they grab you. So here's an example of a hook, a good hook. It was early on a Saturday summer morning when my mother and father stopped arguing and Papa walked away. He is a teacher of literature at the college, so he could have said words when he left. He didn't. And this time he didn't slam the door. He shut it with a small, soft sound that made me jump. Click, said my 4-year-old sister Eleanor, looking up from her coloring book. I stared at the door. I could feel my heart thump, and I could feel tears coming. That's a really intense beginning. So much has happened, and you really want to hear more. Here's another sample of a starting story. Down in the valley, there were 3 farms. The owners of these farms had done well. They were rich men. They were also nasty men. All 3 of them were about as nasty and mean as any men you could meet. Their names were Farmer Boggis, Farmer Bunce, and Farmer Bean. Boggis was a chicken farmer. He kept thousands of chickens. He was enormously fat. This was because he ate 3 boiled chickens smothered with dumplings every day for breakfast, lunch, and supper. So again, this is a different take, but you're already introducing the setting, their farms, and you can kind of imagine it, and then you're being introduced to characters in the story. So just another example. So in your writing notebook, in your writing journal today, you're going to write me some kind of a hook, your beginning of your story. So you already have your beginning, but you're going to go back, you're going to edit it, you're going to change it, you're going to add, so the beginning is a little more compelling, a little more interesting. Good luck! All right, so restart chapter 6, and we are back to Brendan Espinosa. Remember, Brendan is the one who was filming in the cafeteria, and he kind of got to talking with Chase, and he was really surprised at how nice he was being, and he helped him up, and all that. So we're back to Brendan. And this question might not make sense in the beginning when I start reading, but it'll make sense once I'm done reading the chapter. And it's, what do you think Aaron and Bear will think of Chase's new adventure? So something's going to happen in this chapter that's not like the old Chase. And I think we can all agree that Chase used to be very mean and not a very nice guy. A lot of people are afraid of him, and it seems like things are changing, and he's not that person anymore. So something's going to happen in this chapter, so I'll address this question a little later. So remember, this is Brendan Espinosa. A prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and among his own kin and in his own house. That's a quote from the Bible, King James Version. It turns out this applies to YouTubers as well. Here I am, ready to shoot the greatest video in the history of humanity, and I can't get anybody to help me. Come on, you guys, I plead with my fellow vidiots, members of Hiawassee Middle School's video club. You can't all have dentist appointments. It's against the laws of probability. All right, you got me, admits Hugo Verberg, raising his hands in surrender. I don't have a dentist appointment. The reason I won't help you is because you're completely out of your mind. What do you care? I shoot back. That's my problem, not yours. I'm not asking you to do the hard part. I just need someone to be my wingman. Shoshana, you'll help me, right? Not in a million years, is her reply. You're going to get yourself in trouble. I'll put your name on YouTube as a co-producer, I wheedle. Oh, good, she draws. It'll help the cops spell my name right when we get arrested. I'm out, Brendan, and you'd be out too if you had any sense. I'm like really wondering what this video is going to be. So it's no. No from Hugo, no from Shoshana, no from Barton, no from the whole video club. Mauricia even suggests that I should see a mental health professional. I slump against my locker, watching them walk away, deserting me. Where is the loyalty? Where is the club spirit? Where is the fire of creativity? The betrayal stings, but mostly I hate to miss out on this idea. It could be the next thing that goes viral, but it can't go viral if it never gets made. I look around the crowded hall, kids loading up backpacks for dismissal. Do I know anybody? Actually, I know just about everybody, but none of them will meet my eyes. I'm not the most popular guy at school. I'm not sure why. I'm on the honor roll, president of the video club, champion of the academic decathlon 2 years running. Come to think of it, those are probably some of the reasons why kids aren't lining up to ask what I'm doing after school today. Nobody even acknowledges my existence. Then, out of the passing parade, someone notices me hunkered down beside my locker. Oh man, it's Chase. That's all I need to put the finishing touch on this perfect afternoon. Bad enough I can't shoot my video. I don't need to hang by the waistband of my underwear off a peg in the girls' changing room. He pauses, frowning at me, as if trying to come up with where he remembers me from. It must be weird to walk around your own school knowing nobody when you should know everybody. A familiar face, even mine, must really stand out. The cafeteria, I supply. We almost had lunch together. I'm Brendan. His face relaxes into a sheepish smile of recognition. His arm sling is gone, and even his cuts and scrapes are fading. Chase, he introduces himself. I have to laugh. Everybody knows you. How can I forget the face that's starred in so many of my nightmares? With Joel Weber gone, I might be next on the list of preferred targets. I should have told him my name was Harold. Too late now. On the other hand, the word Chase is off the football team, thanks to his head injury, and he certainly seems different than he was last year. Maybe that's because once you've cut a guy's chicken for him, he can never really be that scary again. So I try the impossible. Hey, Chase, are you busy this afternoon? He shrugs. What have you got in mind? I push my luck. I'm shooting this video to put on YouTube, but I need a wingman. Can you help me out? Part of me is screaming, abort, abort. It's the one thing to go exist in the world with people like Chase Ambrose. It's quite another to recruit the guy for something nobody else will touch. He never actually says yes. He just goes with me. I explain on the way, and when I tell him how the video is going to go, he doesn't even tell me I'm nuts. He just laughs and asks me if I'm kidding. Just because something is funny doesn't mean you treat it like a joke, I assure him. Comedy is serious business. If people are going to laugh at this, it'll be because we worked hard at it and got it right. He actually seems to think that over. Yeah, I can see that. But I'm not the one who's going in, right? My doctor would freak out, not to mention my mom. Wow, Chase Ambrose has a mom. I always thought the popular people floated down to earth in a column of pure light from the great space arc. It's all me, I promise. You just have to work the camera. We stop by my place to pick up the tricycle. Chase even takes it for a test drive on the street, practically cackling with mirth. I laugh too, because he looks pretty funny. He's a tall guy, so as he pedals, his knees right up around his knees. My mother comes out to investigate the ruckus. When she sees who I'm with, she's practically ready to dial 911. I can't really blame her. When the Chases of the world hang out with me, it usually means I'm about to be dangled by my feet out a high window. It's fine, Mom, I soothe her. Chase is helping me on a video project. Good to meet you, Chase introduces himself politely. She's tight-lipped. Oh, we've met. I get Chase out of there before my mom says something I'll regret. We head downtown, taking turns alternating riding, pulling, and carrying the trike. Our destination? The shiny bumper car wash on Bell Street. So they're taking a tricycle to a car wash. I hand him the school flip cam and he goes off to distract the attendants. Chase is even better for this than one of the idiots because he's kind of a celebrity around here. Not just a star athlete, but the son of the last star athlete. Plus, everybody's heard about this accident over the summer. So all the attention is on him. That leaves me free to sneak around the back and put on the headband with the other camera mounted on it, a waterproof GoPro I brought from home. I think we can all start to guess what he's about to do. Sneaking ahead of the next car, I place the tricycle on the conveyor, bracing my wheels against the tire block that moves vehicles through the washing tunnel. Then I sit down on the trike, reach up to the camera and hit record. My heart is pounding and I'm tense with anticipation. This is it, the moment of truth. The conveyor pushes me and the first blast of water hits. It's all I can do to keep from screaming. It's ice cold. Considering the research and planning I did to get ready for this stunt, it never occurred to me that they'd use cold water in a car wash. I take hot showers. Why wouldn't cars? The frigid blast has my heart beating so fast it's practically popping out of my head. I try to tell myself to get used to it, but it's not possible. I'm hyperventilating to the point where I can't get any air in. Just when I'm about to pass out and topple over the trike, the water stops. Gasping for breath, I glance over to the observation area. Sure enough, there's Chase, filming. I experience a surge of relief. The only thing worse than going through this would be going through this for nothing. My reprieve is short-lived. The soap is next, pelting down on me like wet snow. They only know two temperatures in here, cold and colder. Two gigantic spinning brushes come at me on robotic arms. I'm vaguely aware that my glasses are gone. That's not important though. I reach up and confirm that the GoPro is still strapped to my head. Out of the corner of my eye, which stings now from the suds, I see that Chase is still following along. He's hysterical with laughter, but the camera's steady in his hands, and that's the main thing. The rinse cycle is next, more hyperventilating, followed by a blast of wind that threatens to hurl me off the tricycle. Actually, it's great. It's the dryer, and it's hot. Even better, it means I'm coming to the end. There should be light at the end of the tunnel, but I can't make out much. I lost my glasses when the brushes did their thing. When the door lifts, I pedal out of there, nearly running over Chase. He never stops filming, not even when the manager turns off the machinery and comes to chew us out. "Very stupid, Ambrose," he yells. "Is this your idea of a joke? You could have gotten him killed, you know. This isn't the first time you've put people in danger in this town. I'm surprised you didn't have a few cherry bombs left over. I'm calling the cops." "It isn't Chase's fault," I manage to croak. "It's mine." I have very little strength left, but I have to speak up. The whole thing was my idea. It's my video project. I talked Chase into helping me. "Brendan?" The manager squints at me. I guess I'm not that easy to recognize, soaking wet and half dead, and my skin all slimy. Think I got a wax treatment in there somewhere. "Is that you? Why would you do such a crazy thing?" "I'm the president of the video club at Hiawassee Middle," I supply. Adults always cut you more slack if they think something is a project for school. It does the trick, especially when I promise to put an ad for this shiny bumper on the club's yearbook page. Sure, I get yelled at, but at least no one is talking about calling the cops anymore. The manager even sends one of his employees into the mechanism to rescue my glasses, which are undamaged except for a small crack on the right lens. We head back to my place. I'm riding the trike mostly because I'm too weak to stand. Chase carries the precious cargo, the two cameras with the footage on them. "Sorry, Chase," I mumble. "I didn't mean to get you in trouble." He cocks an eyebrow. "Looks like you got me out of trouble." "All I did was tell the truth. The whole thing was my idea." "That guy was ready to have me arrested," he insists. "Well," I tell him, "that's mostly because of your reputation." "Oops. That is, your old reputation. You know, for stuff you probably don't even remember doing." In my depleted state, I'm not thinking straight. I'm digging my grave with my mouth. He shakes his head. "My reputation wasn't what made the difference. That was all yours. You must be somebody pretty special around here to get that kind of reaction from a guy who runs a car wash." I'm blown away. My record as a nerd and goody two-shoes never seemed like much to me before. For sure, it didn't compare to Chase's athlete, bad boy, big man on campus. But it was my reputation, not his, that got us out of a jam back there. At my house, we managed to sneak upstairs without Mom getting a look at her baby boy in such a state of despair. I'd never be able to convince her that Chase didn't do it to me. A bully palooza where I was half drowned in the river and my glasses smashed by a ball-peen hammer. I can barely bring myself to take the time to change out of my wet clothes. That's how anxious I am to see the footage we shot. I keep expecting Chase to lose interest and take off, but he hangs around, and it starts to sink in that he's just as into it as I am. We watched the video from the GoPro first. It's pretty insane. A blizzard of flying foam and torrents of water and a lot of whimpering I wasn't aware of at the time. I might have been trying to yell for help, but I couldn't form actual words. I was also thrashing around more than I remember. It's a miracle I stayed on the trike. The best part is when the brushes came. It's as if I'm being attacked by two whirling monsters from Where the Wild Things Are. Next, we play Chase's footage from the viewing area next to the washing tunnel. There I am, clinging to the tricycle like it's the only thing keeping me from floating away into outer space. When the freezing cold water hits, my entire body writhes, belly dancer style, only at triple speed. And when the powerful dryer's on, you can actually see my skin pushed up against the bone structure of my skull. It's pure gold, and I have to say that a lot of the credit for that goes to Chase. He's got a real knack for camera work. We laugh until we're falling over each other. It's definitely more fun to watch it than it was to go through it in real life. I showed Chase how to piece the video together on the computer, intercutting footage from both cameras for maximum effort. For example, when you see the GoPro image flying all over the place and then jump to me jerking and flailing, struggling to keep my perch on the trike, it's even more hilarious because it explains why the picture inside the car wash is so wild and chaotic. Chase catches on quickly and adds some good suggestions of his own, like a split screen of both cameras when the spin brushes come in. At last, we set the whole thing to music, Ride of the Valkyries, and upload the clip to YouTube. We give it a title, How to Clean Your Tricycle. Brendan Espinoza and Chase Ambrose, co-producers. I kid you not, he actually thanks me when I include him in the credits. We watch it on every device in the house, the computer, our phones, an iPad. We even Chromecast it to the TV. It doesn't get old. If this video won't go viral, there's no justice in the world, or at least on YouTube. He's still laughing when I see him out. That might be the most fun I've ever had. I swear he's like a kindergartner who's just been handed the world's most intricate balloon animal. Without thinking, I reply, "How do you know? You've probably forgotten the most fun you've ever had." He looks surprised for a few seconds, and I figured I'm about to get his book bag in the side of my head. Then he says, "Good point, but it was still awesome." Me and my big mouth, I can't leave well enough alone. You know, we've got a video club at school, and you'd be a natural with your camera skills. We could really use you. That might be the dumbest thing I've ever said out loud. Chase Ambrose and his football buddies have made a career out of terrorizing kids like the Vidiots. Recruiting him is like inviting a shark out for sushi. He grins at me. When's the next meeting? And that's the end of chapter 6. So when you're thinking of Chase's new adventure, I'm talking about all that stuff he just did with Brendan and possibly joining the video club. So to me, it seems like guys like Aaron and Bear and the old Chase, they don't hang out with people who do the video club. And in fact, they were really mean to people who are on the video club. And I'm super curious what's going to happen because Shoshana is on the video club and Shoshana does not like Chase, right? So it'll be pretty interesting if he does actually go to the next meeting and join the club. We'll have to see what happens. So think about that. What do you think Aaron and Bear are going to think of all this stuff Chase did with Brendan?